Well, with news of a new generation feud coming on Thursday, I think it's only reasonable that we take a look at Lex Luger and do a tutorial on him. So, Lex Luger, I believe, is one of the more underrated characters that have been released. Here's what we generally want to go with in terms of a normal build. We have the torture rack, we have the military press slam, and we have the suplex. We have the choose move is obviously really your finisher here. We could use the finisher, and I think I'm going to experiment a little bit on Thursday with it. Mainly because obviously the torture rack one is a bit slow because you're in terms of speed wise for feud, because you're looking at a 4-turn move, whereas the finisher can just put them away. And 2, obviously when you look here, we have 5 botch gems. If you wait on dropping the botch gems after the choose move, then you're looking at about a 25k move here. Hardly a Mr. Perfect like 90k finisher, or even a standard 40 to 50k finisher, but it would hopefully put away the opponent based upon what's left on the board. The torture rack is great for the purpose of, if you don't have yellow, really you're just looking at 2 reds, and then you can, 1, buy yourself more time by doing the submission, and 2, it leaves that opportunity for these X break gems, which the animation's really strange on them. It appears that they're supposed to be more or less inverted cross break gems, sort of like the Warrior. But you'll see, and maybe we might be able to set one of these off in the tutorial, exactly how they come across. Trainer-wise, he's about as straightforward as they come. Enzo's necessary and is completely necessary. As you can see, it's a 9 charge, so we need to be able to get to that choose by turn 2. So 1 match, Enzo 5,000, 100% necessary. Unfortunately, and I'm probably going to up Big John Stud to 5,000 is the only gem trainer I don't have at 5,000. And I'm going to try to get him up with the talent event so that I can use Lex Luger a little bit in this coming feud. You can see here's the trainer. Here's the move damage is pretty solid. As evidenced, now let's just take a quick look, because I'm not going to up it, but this is where you'd be looking at about 14 plus a little over 3 for each botch gem. These are really the optimal builds. It's going to be yellow, red either way. I really don't see any value in going with anything outside of these 2 trainers. You could do an Arn Anderson or something like that, which could enhance it if you don't have Enzo free. And in which case, then that's a no-brainer to go with the finisher, because you add 9 botch gems, all of a sudden, you're talking about knocking about 30k damage more back in, and that finisher's, it's some serious business over there. But that's certainly an option if you need to. Let's do some matches here. So let's take a look. Now, tag-wise, you have a bunch of options. Let's take a look at his tag links. Unfortunately, literally the very next day after I released the Mr. Perfect video, they removed the December link. So the 1MP is not an option. There's a couple really unique tag links. We have the Ally Powers, which is 20% damage. That's, again, will really enhance the choose move. Dudes with Attitudes. Dudes with Attitudes is really interesting. And what makes it interesting is the fact that really it'll add 2 MPs. So if you're starting in a situation where you don't have Enzo, then you really can go forward with it to be able to get to that choose move a little bit faster than you would like. It's still, unfortunately, because it is 2, you're really looking at a situation where if you get a yellow match to get to 9, you're still talking about turn 4 here, which, for what it is what it is at this juncture. But if you can lock up that submission earlier, then it does change things. Couple submission moves, you do the submission, boom, 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 and then off you go. Horseman link, not overly helpful. It's purple moves, unfortunately. Millionaire Club, yellow gems. I guess against Andre the Giant, that's about it. Andre, Bobby Roode. That's really the extent. And then the classic new generation here. We're going to go with the Allied Powers link, and let's see who we can face. Let's go with my buddy Mr. Bane here. The perennial winner of the infamous 12 Days of Crafting event, which received so many positive reviews when solicited upon on Reddit. So it's really simple here. All we're doing is we're chasing the yellow. Unfortunately, I mean, in some context, I would sit here and say let's block the blue. But really, I mean, it's just it just doesn't seem like it's viable. I mean, if there's a way here, and I'm looking just to see if we can get a black match set up for Baylor, but even that's not really in play. So really, I mean, this is a situation where we just got to hope for the best, because he's going to hit his move. So, and there is the black, and that at least saves us in some regard. So there's a couple options here. In light of where we are, I'm gonna lay the botch gems down first, because we are looking at setting up the submission. Okay, so botch gem wise, there's no matchups here in terms of blue. We have the cross down below. So I think ideally what we want to do is, if we can, preserve some of these yellow matches. So maybe if we need it on the way back, it'll come into play. We'll be all right. Botch gem wise, I'm just going to put them on the black, because I expect right here in the top right corner and in the middle, we're going to use as much as we can in terms of using the red gems and hopefully setting up some cascades. So I'm going to go here. We're going to set them up here. And we ideally want to do, let's see what we can work with. We want to make use of at least these two together. So let's go here. And then we can set up an additional match. The real question is, where do we want to put it? And we have the blue here. I mean, this thing could blow up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, even though it's not overly ideal, I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to extend it, and we're not going to do it separate, but it'll set something up. Let's take a look. See, there we go. And I mean, you see it right there. Baylor had about 70K, and he was washed away pretty quickly right there. Again, you can't not take in consideration the fact that he does have a 20% Allied Powers boost, which boosts all those gems. And I will note, as I am in execution, we do have the 15% buff. So, I mean, realistically, if you're, not in a situation where you have, these kind of buffs, you got to shave off a little bit of gem damage here, but you can see it. So here we go. We're going to do another one. What I'm going to do against the yarn is I'm going to play around now a little bit with the concept of what we discussed, which is essentially a dudes with attitude link. And how we're going to do it is we're going to do it like this. We're going to go, I'm going to say, let's say your Enzo is not free. I'm going to put Arn on, and you'll see what we're talking about here. It's obviously nowhere near as fast, but whoops, I accidentally hit that. That was not on purpose. Here's Arn, boom. Okay. So I'm going to face Arn with him, and then we're going to go with the dudes with attitude link, and you'll see exactly what we're dealing with here. And unfortunately, in this circumstance, we do not have a yellow match. He's going to be running, it looks like, Woods. So I'm going to do the best I can to block that purple match here. Let's take a look. Still no yellow. Let's see. Very dry board, unfortunately. Still no yellow matches. And that's the thing. A lot of times people are just, especially in this game, assuming matches is a dangerous game. It's a very, very dangerous game. And it's just not the case very often. And again, I mean, look, we're here just 4 straight turns. And we absolutely do not have... we absolutely don't have a yellow match. And ironically enough, and I guess we'll call it ironic, I even messed up here a little bit where we had a situation where you can see I meant to do the finisher, not the submission here. I am going to do it even though there's a 5 across. But we're going to take a look. You'll see. Because you can see right there, it would have triggered. And now finally here we are with a yellow match. I mean, it took us long enough, but at least you'll be able to see the whole crux of this. So, okay, we got a yellow match. First, we got botch gems galore. And now we're going to be able to set off these gems. And there they go. Securing a very solid victory right there. Hopefully this was fast enough, or we're going to have enough time before I say goodbye to run this link with the finisher, which is really what its intent is, because the Arn Anderson buff is, as nice as it is to keep them from kicking out, really intended to be used on the finisher. Again, let me stress that the first setup is the ideal